Picture this. You've just pulled your last tomatoes off the vine. The squash are in. The beans are done. You walk through your garden at the end of the season, and it feels good. It feels finished. You did the work, you got the harvest, and now it's time to rest. But here's what most of us don't realize at that moment. The decisions you make in the next few days, and the ones you skip entirely, will determine what kind of soil you're working with next spring. Not just a little. Dramatically. I learned this the hard way. For almost 15 years, I treated harvest time like the finish line. Pull everything out, maybe turn the soil, call it done. Every spring I'd wonder why my beds felt harder, why my plants took longer to establish, why I kept chasing problems that never fully went away. The answer was right there in the ground. I just wasn't looking at it right. What I'm about to share are 12 mistakes that most gardeners and small farmers make during and after harvest, and almost none of them get talked about. Some of them I still have to catch myself doing. They don't kill your garden overnight. They're slow. They're quiet. And that's exactly what makes them dangerous. Stay with me, because mistake number 7 is the one that changed how I think about soil entirely. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get more information from Healthy Soil Living. Mistake 1. Harvesting when the soil is wet. This one starts before you even pull a single plant. If you're working your beds, walking on them, pulling roots, digging. When the soil is saturated, you are compacting it with every single step. Wet soil particles get pressed together, and the pore spaces that hold air and water collapse. That structure can take a full season or more to recover. If you have to harvest after heavy rain, use boards to distribute your weight. Give it an extra day if you can. Your soil will remember either way. Mistake 2. Pulling plants instead of cutting them. When most people remove their spent crops, they grab the base and pull. It's satisfying. Feels thorough. But when you yank a plant out by the roots, you're tearing through a whole network of fungal threads and root channels that took all season to build. Those channels become pathways for water and air next season. Cut your plants at the soil line instead. Leave the roots to decompose in place. The biology down there will break them down, and the structure stays intact. Mistake 3. Leaving soil bare over winter. Bare soil is not resting soil. It is dying soil. Rain hammers the surface and breaks apart the aggregate structure. Frost heave disrupts the layers beneath. Wind carries away the lightest, most nutrient-rich particles from the top. Every week your soil sits exposed, you are losing ground. Literally. Cover it. A thick layer of straw, leaves, wood chips, or a fast-growing cover crop will protect the surface, feed the biology underneath, and give you something completely different to work with in spring. Mistake 4. Tilling immediately after harvest. There is a window right after harvest, when the soil biology is still highly active, processing residues, building structure, moving nutrients around. Tilling in that window disrupts everything mid-process. It breaks apart fungal networks, buries surface organic matter where there's not enough oxygen to break it down properly, and exposes the deeper layers to temperature extremes. If you need to prepare beds for a cover crop or winter planting, use a broad fork or a shallow rake. Keep the disturbance minimal and keep it near the surface. Mistake 5. Removing all crop residue. I understand the impulse. A clean bed looks managed. It looks intentional. But when you rake out every stem, every leaf, every bit of plant debris after harvest, you're removing what the soil organisms were planning to eat all winter. That organic material is the raw input for next year's fertility. Leave what you can. Chop it and drop it. If you're worried about disease, compost the diseased material and return the rest. The biology needs something to work with. Mistake 6. Not observing what your harvest is telling you. Your crops are communicating constantly, and harvest is one of the loudest moments. Roots that are stunted, twisted, or discolored are showing you exactly where compaction, pH imbalance, or drainage problems live in your soil. Pale leaves at the end of a long season often point to nitrogen that got locked up rather than lost. Most of us are so focused on what we're collecting that we forget to look at what we're pulling out. Slow down. Read your roots. They are the most honest soil test you have. And this next mistake is one that surprises almost everyone who hears it for the first time. Mistake 7. Adding raw compost directly to beds at harvest. Compost is not always ready just because it looks ready. Partially broken down organic material, what some people call hot compost that never finished, can actually tie up nitrogen as it continues to decompose in your soil. The microbes processing that material pull nitrogen from the surrounding soil to fuel their work, which means your plants next season start out in a deficit. Always make sure your compost is fully finished before adding it to beds. It should smell like earth, not like something still breaking down. Crumble it in your hand. If it's chunky and fibrous, it needs more time. Mistake 8. Over-applying amendments at once. More is not always better. This is one I see constantly. After a tough season, the instinct is to load up the beds with everything: lime, fertilizer, compost, minerals, all at once. But soil biology works best with gradual inputs. Dumping heavy amounts of any amendment at once can spike pH, overwhelm the microbial community, or push certain nutrients so high that they block the uptake of others. Apply amendments in smaller amounts. Test before you add. Let the biology integrate what you give it before you give it more. Mistake 9. Ignoring drainage problems until spring. The end of harvest is actually the perfect time to diagnose drainage issues, because the season's watering and rainfall have revealed exactly where water pools, where it rushes off, and where it moves through properly. If you wait until spring to address drainage, you've lost your window. Puddles that sit for more than a few hours after rain indicate compaction or a layer beneath the surface that water can't penetrate. Mark those spots now. That's where you focus your broad forking or mulching or swale work before the ground freezes. Mistake 10. Skipping a soil test at the end of the season. Most gardeners think of soil testing as a spring job, but a fall test, taken right after harvest, shows you what your plants actually used, what built up, and what is still missing. It gives you the whole winter to source amendments, make a plan, and apply things gradually rather than scrambling in April. A basic test is cheap. The information is specific, and it turns your guesswork into a strategy you can actually track year over year. Mistake 11. Compacting paths and letting them migrate into beds. Over a long growing season, the line between your walking paths and your growing beds drifts. You step just a little further to reach something, then a little further again, then you've been compacting the edge of your bed for 3 months without realizing it. By harvest time, you can often see it, plants near the edges of the bed that underperformed. After harvest, reset your paths clearly. Stake them if you need to. Add a thick layer of wood chips or straw to the paths to define them visually and keep your own feet where they belong. Mistake 12. Treating harvest as an ending instead of a transition. This is the one that ties all the others together. The harvest is not the end of your growing cycle. It is the handoff point. What you do in those days and weeks after the last crop comes in sets the starting conditions for everything that follows. Soil doesn't take winter off. The fungi keep growing. The bacteria keep processing. The earthworms keep moving. They are working through the cold months whether you are paying attention or not. Your job at harvest time is to set them up with the right conditions, cover, food, minimal disturbance, so that when you show up in spring, the soil shows up for you. Most people walk through wet beds to harvest faster. What works better is waiting or using boards, because compacted structure costs you a full season of root growth. Most people pull plants out whole. What works better is cutting at the soil line, because root channels and fungal networks stay intact and decompose in place. Most people leave soil bare after harvest. What works better is covering immediately with mulch or a cover crop, because bare soil degrades every single week it is exposed. Most people add amendments in the fall without testing. What works better is testing at harvest and planning amendments for gradual application, because soil chemistry compounds over years and small adjustments build better than big corrections. Most people treat harvest as the finish line. What works better is treating it as a transition, because the decisions made in that window have more impact on next season than almost anything you do in spring. Pick one bed that you've already harvested or will harvest in the next few days. Before you do anything else to it, crouch down and pull one plant slowly. Look at the roots. Are they healthy, branching and light-colored, or stunted, circling or dark? Then cut the rest at the soil line. Leave the roots in place and cover the bed with 4 to 6 inches of straw or leaves before the week is out. That one bed, cared for the right way at the end of this season, will show you something noticeably different next spring. Keep notes. Compare it to a bed you treated the old way. Then come back here and tell me, what did your roots look like when you pulled them? And what did that tell you about what was happening underneath your garden all season?